And we are live. Hi, my name is
Whoop,
Tyriece
whoop.
Simon,
Hi, I'm Elijah Jones.
and this is MMA Renegade, episode 9. How you doing, Elijah?
Episode 9. I am tired. I'm
Me
not gonna
too.
lie to you. I just came off of maybe a 2-hour nap. Ridiculously tired, but that's because we got in around 2:30 last night from
Where do we
being
go?
at UFC 244 at Madison Square Garden.
A great event. Amazing event.
Phenomenal event. Phenomenal event. The cultivation of years of watching UFC have led to 2 years back to back of being able to see a UFC event at Madison Square Garden. Sold out, by the way.
Sold out,
Again,
yeah.
sold
The
out.
stadium, the whole entire arena was filled up with people all over the country. I've heard people that was from told people that was from England, seen some Brazilians there as well.
I
Uh,
think I think most most of those most of the continents were represented here. At
very
that
deep.
all I think there are people from all 7 continents. I mean, goddamn. It's I mean, of course, obviously from the U.S., but everywhere else too. The fans, the fight fans, man, the fight fans, different breed.
And the president.
The president.
Yeah, the
That's one of the bigger
seven.
things.
You had all nationalities there, and the president.
And the president. And it's interesting because you when we were there last night, the man got booed, of course, which I took part of, and you saw a lot of people stand up and boo this man, and the man just loved it.
Well, let's actually start from this, right? So let's before we go about the event and talk about the fights there. Let's talk about our experience. Elijah,
Hmm.
from your perspective, how was the event to you?
Well, the event felt as big as they had hyped it up to be, and that's not saying like they're just blowing smoke and air into it. They made the event for the BMF title. This event realistically was based on a new belt being for a once in a lifetime belt that probably won't ever be defended ever. To be honest with you, shouldn't be defended realistically. But
Right.
the event was designed around the title of the baddest motherfucker, and I think as a whole, UFC put in all the resources. They took all the stops necessary to get that to represent that title, and I think they succeeded last night. I think you saw the success come from you saw that success in them trying to market something that wasn't even a title fight. It wasn't a real title fight for a real UFC belt, but people still tuned in. People still showed up because they're just that much invested in what UFC has to show. So I think the event was just amazing. To be honest, it was just successful on all occasions. I from when we got there at I believe we got there a little late. We
Yeah,
got
we
there a
did.
little late,
We did.
but we got there nonetheless. We got in. Actually, it's funny because by the time we got in, it was only the second fight on the undercard, the pre
Yeah.
prelim. So it felt you felt the atmosphere, you took in the energy, you understood what was really going on in the air. So I thought it was great. What about you?
I thought it was great, man. When we got to the event outside of Madison Square Garden, we was able to take pictures, and we felt how big the moment is. Madison Square Garden, it's a big event. You know, all the fight fans are all there. You got people arguing outside the Madison Square Garden, talking about, "Oh, Masvidal's going to win this," or "I think that not D is going to win." Who you? Team D and Team Masvidal. You had all this going on outside the event, so you
Yeah,
just felt all that energy and that feeling of, "Oh God, this is going to be a great time."
great time. You felt that energy of what was going on, and again, as for sports fans, I mean, as UFC fans, I mean, we didn't shut up for this. We didn't
No,
shut up. We
no,
didn't. We truly did not shut up. We kept talking about it from start to finish. Went through the card. Went through the greatest and what the greatness is, like the strong points and the weak points of most fighters. We talked about what their career is looking like. We talked about what would be great matchups if they lost. What great matches if they won. You know.
yeah,
So I mean, it was I had no qualms. I again after this ESPN deal, we've talked about this behind the scenes. This
yeah.
has just been a culmination of a great year, and this is one of the best, like one of the without a doubt, one of the top 3 cards of the year.
How you feel about security?
Tight,
It was a little tight. It was a
tight,
little stiff. It was a
a
little
little
stiff.
tight, a little tight. Not gonna lie to you, but that makes sense because uh,
So let's put this out there. So you right now you're dealing with a cavity, right? Or a tooth. You know,
this past Wednesday, I got one of my wisdom teeth removed.
right? Yeah.
It did. It's just interesting enough. For most people who don't know, you're still able to get cavities on your wisdom teeth, even though they're growing basically out inside of your
Eeks.
jaw. So, uh, please. keep clean and make sure you have great dental hygiene. But wisdom teeth are kind of just the thing you kind of have to deal with as an adult. So
Right.
we're good there. I don't know if it's possible, but you may see a little puffiness on this side. It's coming down, doesn't hurt as much. And my oral surgeon did well, so I'm still here. I'm able to eat solid foods after I'm now almost a week out of my surgery date. But we're good.
So, and the reason I bring this up is because you had to bring medicine to the event.
I did. Oh, this is the most awkward thing because I'm a guy who likes to fill his pockets with stuff. I have random shit in my pocket. That's just it. That's just how I am as a person. I'll have change. I'll have a tissue. I have my eyeglass cleaner. I have my glasses, like the spray. I had a spoon because I had to eat oatmeal for a while. So we're getting through Madison Square Garden, and I take everything in my pocket, and I'm like trying to explain to Security. I'm like, hey, it's gonna get a little weird. He was like, all right. I'm like, no, you don't get it. It's gonna get a little weird. I pull out a spoon. He's like, why does he have a spoon? I'm like, I have to eat oatmeal, wisdom tooth. Then I pull out my medication from my wisdom teeth, and he's like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "Just read it. It says it. It says it. It tells you the surgeon. It tells you why I'm taking it. Just please, just read it, sir." So he opens it, looks at the other pill, looks at me, looks at the pill bottle again, looks at the other pill bottle, and I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be all right." And so,
no, not at all.
Boom. And so 5 minutes later, I walked through. So we were good.
Dude, my thing was that the president was coming. We knew the president was going to be there, so we knew we had an idea what the security was going to be like. It was totally more than we expected. I'm telling you, you had officers with rifles and armored vests outside the Madison Square Garden just waiting.
It's actually funny because we were talking in front of Madison Square Garden, and then all we see is like 7, I guess, traffic or whoever having M4s and things. We're just like, huh, is that right?
Yeah.
We just stopped the conversation because we were like, oh, okay, got it. Got it.
He's secure. He's secure.
I felt secure. I don't know about you. I felt secure. So yeah, but it was all in all, it was interesting.
So you brought a spoon and you brought a bunch of drugs to Madison Square Garden. Your brother brought a lighter. Your brother brought a lighter. He was with us. Your brother brought a lighter trying to get through Madison Square Garden. You got
listen, man.
It's a little hard to run with you guys. I'm not gonna be lying.
Listen, we're a fun crew. That's just it. We're a fun crew, man. We make sure we have a good time. That's really it.
To the viewer watching, please comment in the live chat. We'd love to hear from you and see what you thought about the event. And please subscribe as well. But yeah, man, Madison Square Garden was crazy. The security was at a high level. They even ran through your pockets. I seen them actually go through your wallet and take the cash and stuff out of your wallet from one point.
So I looked at it too, and I was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "What are you doing?"
It was a little
weird though. A little strange because no one else's wallet got checked like that. I didn't see anybody else's wallet get like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think it was like the guy looked at me, he was like, "Why does he have pills and a spoon?" All right, he may be a little dangerous.
He may be on heroin.
Yeah. So we got through, and it was a good time.
And they even didn't even have you use lids on your cups. We try to get cups, and we couldn't use lids.
I'm gonna relocate to the kitchen so that way we have a better light, and because it's better that way.
I'll put the camera on me for a minute.
Bear with me, yeah.
So as Elijah's changing his location, so the event was pretty good, really good. So security was at a high level, which was great because it felt more secure. Outside the Madison Square Garden, in the background, you see Trump supporters handing out flyers.
Elijah Jones has relocated, and we're good to go. Yes, sir. Put me back on the screen.
No, I was just saying that even outside the event, we had Trump supporters handing out flyers and whatnot.
We had Trump supporters handing out flyers, and then we had people who were against Trump, like me, and who were also trying to hand out impeachment things. So it was, you weren't
doing it.
Huh? Oh, I wasn't doing it, but there's some of us who may be fans and some of us who are not, and I can tell you right now, I'm not. So that's fine. But you saw just about everybody, from people who don't watch UFC to activists to people who were diehard fans, and you had a very big pool of people who attended this event, and this is a quote from one of the guys who was sitting next to us. Even if you didn't watch UFC, even if you didn't do this and like watch this and study this, you understood what was going on and what was at stake, and you saw that the fights all had great meaning. So again, shout out to UFC. That was a great card.
I agree.
244, one for the books. One for the books.
The 500th event.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect segue to get into the fights, right?
Yes,
To
yes, sir.
the viewer watching, please subscribe to the channel and please comment in the live chat. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes,
But let's start from the top, right? Masvidal beats Diaz by TKO, doctor stoppage. He had a cut above and around the eye. I thought Masvidal had a great performance. Probably the best I've ever seen him.
Masvidal did what I thought he'd be able to do to Nate Diaz. This fight was stopped prematurely, so we didn't get to see Nate Diaz do what Nate Diaz is so good at doing, which is picking up steam in round 3 and then round 4 and 5, bring your opponent to the deep waters. Now, let me say this. Rounds 1 and 2, I not only saw a great fighting IQ from Masvidal, but you saw a very, very technical approach to beating Nate Diaz. He neutralized the clinch for Nate Diaz, which is one of his one of his best moves to get people to tire them out. He was in the first round. He would, as soon as he got the clinch, he would turn around and he would try to make sure that his back wasn't on the cage. And then the striking alone was just, I don't know, man. From what we saw from Masvidal, I was very impressed. Very impressed. That might be one of his best performances to date, to be honest with you.
You're gonna hear a little stack in the background. That's your mom cooking up some stuff, which I would love to eat some food from her too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with Masvidal, I thought it was a great performance. I don't really see it your way. I think that's where we disagree. I think it was gonna be worse for Nate going forward. I thought Masvidal's kicks to the body was a big key factor. I think that really hurt him early on.
Oh yeah, 100%. That second round did damage. That second round did damage with the body kicks.
And we talked about it going towards the event. I was like, I don't know how Nate Diaz is going to do because at welterweight, he doesn't really have the power of a welterweight. He doesn't have the power to really make an impact on the fight. Meanwhile, Masvidal does. And then doing research for this fight. So going into the rounds, Masvidal had 35 of 54 significant strikes compared to Nate Diaz, 13 to 27. In the second round, Masvidal had 39 to 38 compared to Nate Diaz, 11 to 31. And in the third round, Masvidal had 38 to 67 compared to Nate Diaz, 19 to 46. So doing my research, one of the things that I've noticed is that Nate Diaz does best when he has a high volume, which he can do, and he's landed the more powerful strikes.
100%. When Nate Diaz is able to turn the volume up onto his opponents and throw more volume, that's when he is better. That's when he is better as a fighter, and that's the fights he tends to win. Those are the fights he wins is when he has a high output. His style already is the high output volume. So if he's able to land consistently, of course he's going to win. I think the issue with this fight was that Masvidal just had the power at welterweight that Masvidal has is just, you're right, it's different than what Nate Diaz has at welterweight. And I agree. I think that it's obvious that from the fight metrics that he was able to land more and he was able to hit him more with more significant shots. But I do think if you were there and watching the fight, you saw it's not that Masvidal was getting gassed, but you saw Masvidal slowing down and picking the shots that he needed to take. And those were the shots that were so nice, which was great. But the issue was this, was he going to be able to keep that up for the 4th and 5th round?
No, so this is where we disagree. So with Masvidal, I think Masvidal was playing the game of how to beat Nate Diaz. So like I said before, he was playing the game of how to beat Nate Diaz. One of the games. Nate Diaz does best, like I said, when he's throwing a high volume and landing the more powerful strikes against his opponent. Doesn't mean when he's landing the most volume, he's winning the fight. Because we've seen in the past when we fought Conor McGregor the second time, Nate Diaz had the most volume, but Conor McGregor picked his shots and landed the most significant strikes. And that was how he beat Nate Diaz. And
realistically, that fight, there's a lot of people who also graded that fight towards Diaz. So let's although Conor did get the win and I scored Conor, I just want to put that out there. There's a lot of people, including you, who we talked about that Nate Diaz that fight could have been scored for Diaz as well. The high volume output in certain rounds help him get higher on the scorecards. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. You're telling me the facts, right? But if you saw what was going on, Masvidal was not the same as he was in round 1 and round 3.
Well, no, so he was the same. When you look at
Nah.
he got better, and his output got better. So you saying that he was picking his shots? No, he was actually turning the heat up more against Masvidal, against Nate Diaz. In fact, even towards the later rounds, he was doing more. He was going getting against the ground and ground and pounder from there. So in every single situation, Masvidal was dominating that fight.
I'm not saying that he's not dominating the fight. I'm saying that that's the game that Nate Diaz want to play. And I said I'm interested in seeing how the 4th and 5th round goes because that's not the fight that Masvidal usually has to fight in most of his fights. It's always usually stand-up, which we knew this fight would be. But what I'm telling you is that in the 4th and 5th round is when we would have seen a difference that could have changed the fight.
Maybe, and I'll leave it up to maybe it could have happened. But just going off of how he beat Nate Diaz, Masvidal did a perfect game plan.
Oh, he had a great game plan. The man instituted a phenomenal plan, and he has great coaches. And his fight IQ, again, like I said, I gave the credit to Masvidal.
Okay,
let's go ahead and get that off the bat. You don't have, we're not defending or fighting for anybody here. I gave the credit to Masvidal before I started my what I was talking about with Nate Diaz. Phenomenal first round. I don't know too many people who've had a great round against Nate Diaz just like that. The only person I can say who probably had a decent, good round where he was knocking Nate Diaz on his, back and forth is maybe Conor. And then the only other fight where Nate Diaz got knocked out was Josh Thompson. But that was a cultivation of I think 2 to 3 rounds. That wasn't actually in the first round. I think Masvidal at 170 is a lot more solid than Masvidal at 155. And he had a great, phenomenal plan. He implemented that plan well. But what I'm trying to argue here, or what I guess I'm trying to bring up the fact is that you're right. Nate Diaz, if he lands more, he's going to hit more. But you saw him turning up his volume towards that 3rd round. And I was interested to see where that was going because there were moments where Masvidal did have to take a break. And he chose whether or not he was a break because he tired or he thought it'd be smart to conserve energy. That's up to him. But there were parts where Nate Diaz, you're like, oh wow, that's not what was happening in rounds 1 and 2. Compared to round 3, compared to rounds 1 and 2, again, Masvidal did hit him powerful strikes. He was catching him. He was more accurate, but you did see more output on Nate Diaz's side in comparison to rounds 1 and 2.
No, yeah, Nate Diaz from round 1 to 2 is completely different. In round 1, Nate Diaz was 13 of 27. He actually decreased to 11 of 31 in terms of significant strikes. And then from round 3, he actually went up to 19. So he was 19 to 46. However, with Masvidal kept the same pace. 35 of 54 in round 1, 39 of 58 in round 2, and 38 of 67 in round 3. So from round 1, 2, and 3, he kept that same pace of landing the most difficult shots. And when we seen the fight, a lot of it was Nate Diaz would throw shots, and he had the high volume, but Masvidal would have the bigger shots and would have big impacts.
It's the land. You're right. It's the landing of the volume. But again, when you get knocked around, what's the likelihood of you being able to land? You know what I mean? Like that, you have to understand that too. If you're getting Nate Diaz from round 1, even though he was throwing the high output, throwing jab, trying to get the jab implemented, trying to get the low kicks and the teep kicks going at some point in rounds 1 and 2, he was getting knocked. That was just it. He was just getting hit. So you can throw as many strikes as you want, but I mean, if they're not landing, then theoretically you're not gonna be able to hurt the guy. You know what I'm saying?
I thought the great comparison was Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier was almost as similar to this fight, where Max Holloway has the bigger volume and maybe he has the bigger endurance and able to keep that
His
pace.
endurance is better, yeah.
But the power of Dustin Poirier kept to being a problem. So every 5 punches that Max Holloway would throw, 3 of the punches that Dustin Poirier will have a bigger impact.
It was the counter, and that was the issue. Yep. The counters are hard. Yeah. I wouldn't say Masvidal countered as much because he did push forward. I mean, Nate pushed forward and he pushed forward. I think Masvidal was just catching him. That's the best thing about Masvidal's stand-up is because Masvidal doesn't have to wait to be hit in order to hurt you, which is not a bad thing. Counter strikers are some of the most elite strikers in any kind of fighting sport, correct? But when you have a fighter who's able to not only go push forward and then hurt you, that's also presents a very big danger for a lot of people And so you're right when comparing this fight to the Nate Diaz and Masvidal
Right.
to my boy Max Holloway and my other guy Dustin Poirier. That mirror kind of fight because you have a guy who can go the 5 rounds, maybe even more.
Yeah.
Then you have the guy who has the power at the level that he's at, and
Yeah.
when you have the power versus the cardio. Sometimes the power you would expect the cardio to outweigh the power if the power runs out of power, but the power didn't run out of power. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
just that was the thing about Jorge Masvidal. So again, I don't know where the fight would have gone, but I knew that the longer the fight draws out, it tips better in Diaz's favor. Like he may not have the best odds, but the longer the fight goes on, the better his chances of winning get. And that may be a small margin, that may be a large margin. Who knows? But that's just the point I'm trying to make.
No, I can agree with that. So let me ask you this: you think the fight was stopped premature?
I disagree with. I understand the doctor stoppage.
Okay.
I 100%. I'll say 110% wholeheartedly understand the doctor stoppage. What I think could have happened, maybe again, I'm not a doctor. I wanted to see maybe if they had the cut men have used the Vaseline to kind of manage the cut and like reduce the swelling around the area. Maybe if that cut reopened during the 4th round, right? Which obviously it would have. We know that it would have. That's just it. This is the fight game. You're gonna get punched in the eye. If that cut reopened, I would have maybe seen if that they looked at it again before they recontinued everything. But I mean, stopping it then and stopping it now, what's the difference? There really is none. So I don't not completely understand the decision. I understand the decision to stop, but as a fan, I am a little upset because this is the fight I wanted to see.
Yeah, I think people at the arena they booed. I've seen people even throw stuff at going towards the octagon,
Which is unnecessary, realistically. But that's unnecessary.
But I think the problem was that you built it up to be this is the BMF title. This is who's the baddest mother effer on the planet.
Yeah.
And I think it played against the UFC because at the end of the day, I heard Luke Thomas say this. So this is coming from him. You can't take away the regulation. The people that's regulating this event. So this is a UFC. This is a UFC event. This is not something you made up out of nowhere. This is something that is regulated. So the doctor had every right to stop the fight.
100%.
He deemed
he
that
sees something wrong.
Yes, he deemed that it was something wrong. Maybe I think Luke Thomas said watching his review. He said that maybe he seen bone. It's possible.
Well, okay, so let's just go ahead and break this down.
Yeah.
Nate Diaz has been fighting for over 15 years.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just say he has like maybe 15 year career. I don't know. I'm just gonna give it anything over 10. It's pretty much a long time to be fighting, regardless. After having many fights, after many wars, Nate Diaz's eyebrows, if you've noticed them, his eyebrows above his eye and slightly above his eye are always a little bit more puffy than most people's, right? And after years of getting jabbed and like hit, that there's a lot of scar tissue that builds up here. So when he fights, the first thing he can get tapped in like 2 seconds. You could look at the brother probably, and his eyebrows may be cut open, and there's a lot of like meat and like hanging out there, scar tissue that can be cut open easily for him. Same with things sometimes under his eye. So when you look at the cut under his eye, that seemed okay because it didn't seem that bad. But when you saw the up close visual of the cut above his, I guess his eyebrow almost, or in the eyebrow area, you saw a separation. You saw a huge separation of what was flesh from other flesh. So. Again, was it a great stoppage for fans? No. But was it better that this guy didn't lose part of his eyebrow or had suffered a worse medical condition? Yes. I think in the long run, this is going to work out for him. But does it help the UFC? I agree with you. I don't think it does. But I mean, what are you going to do? If the doctor who is supposed to be making sure and ensuring that both fighters are safe.
Yeah.
During this fight, the doctor did their job. And that's why I can't complain.
And I agree. Looking back on the fight, I did this this morning. I thought it was a good stoppage. I think the only problem is we've seen in other areas like Las Vegas, like California, and I think somebody Ariel Hawani referenced in his Twitter He said that if this cut worse than Tyson Fury's cut, and I would,
Tyson Fury had a bad cut.
yeah,
Tyson Fury had a bad cut. Not
and
gonna
let
lie
it,
to you.
and
Tyson
they
Fury
let,
had,
and they let
that
them
was bad.
continue. And I think that's the problem. I think it's only because of doctor's discretion. And I think if the doctor would have came in and made an announcement or a written statement, this is, again, something Luke Thomas had brought up, that would have appeased some people and give some explanation. But because you don't have that, you're just left with this undecisive conclusion of the doctor did stop the fight because it deemed it too unnecessary to continue.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think as fight fans, you have to separate yourself from wanting to see somebody get their skull bashed in, and then having the fighter's best safety in mind. If I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if my camera's a little dark.
No, it's fine.
Tilt it up. But no, you do have to understand that these two are putting their lives on the line at the end of the day. So I guess that maybe everyone can't see it like that. I think that at least for us, that we, when we were leaving, actually, it's funny because when we got the call, the best way, if you're going to any UFC event that, of course, sold out, huge as Madison Square Garden, let me tell you something. You do not wait to the post-fight interview with Joe Rogan and the winner of the fight. You do not. You can watch that at home. That is okay. You can watch it on your way home. You can watch it anywhere else. But as soon as that last fight is done, you get up out of there, because if you wait to the last minute to leave when everyone is leaving, your chances of getting from the inside of the arena to outside of the arena alone will be at least 20 to 30 minutes. At least.
And put it in more perspective, in New York. In New York, going to the train.
We have to leave. We have to go down 5 flights.
Yeah.
5 long flights, which are separated differently than 5 regular flights going upstairs. The levels between sections of Madison Square Garden are enormous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enormous.
And to our credit, we got out there on time. There was daylight saving time, so we were perfect getting home. I think I got home maybe about like 1:20 or whatever. So that was maybe 1 hour from when we left. Very good time.
Yeah, we did good. I think we did good. But going back to the fight, I think that's what a lot of fans. I mean, I understand. I understand the right. I understand we have the right to boo. I was upset. I know we looked at each other at the end of the fight, like, damn, that happened.
Because you want conclusion. You want conclusion, and we didn't really.
You want a conclusion. That. Conclusion, not a word, but conclusion. Good save, brother.
Yes. But to the credit of Masvidal, when you look at the judges' scoring of this fight so far, of going to the 3rd round and going to the 4th, Masvidal was up 30-26 on every scorecard so far.
I can't even be mad at that.
So
I truly can't be mad at that.
He was on track to be unanimous decision if they ever went to there.
Yeah.
Agreed. But going back to this, what is next for Masvidal? I say title shot.
I say the title is being defended in about a month, right?
Yes.
In about a little bit over a month. Let's say a little bit over a month. Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman. I think if UFC is smart, they do not give him Leon Edwards.
No.
Not right now. Leon Edwards is 1 fight away from being title contention. 2 fights, maybe. Really 2 fights realistically in the timeline of everything, but really 1 fight. 1 fight really sets him over the edge. And we have a clear-cut number 1 contender. And that was the issue. That was my issue with this fight, because if Masvidal won and won in a spectacular fashion, he's next for the title. But if Nate Diaz won, did Nate Diaz get the next title shot? And that was always my biggest thing. But we're talking about Masvidal right now. Masvidal definitely 100% gets the title shot. I don't think there's any other fight that should make sense for him. He could take the Leon Edwards fight, but realistically, he's come so far and he's had such a spectacular year. A Leon Edwards fight would be appeasing for fans, but if we're looking towards a career in fighting where you can become a champion, you have to now advocate for that title belt. And I'll be honest with you, he deserves it. The man deserves it after a spectacular performance like that.
I don't even think fans really want the Leon Edwards fight. I think being there live and seeing the reaction to certain people, you get to understand why the UFC is pushing the button on certain people, like Darren Till. We'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
But Masvidal is 34 now. He's going to be 35 next week, next Tuesday. So the time is ticking on really his career when you think about it. I think if now more than ever is the time you get him a title shot next after this Kamaru Usman and Kobe Covington fight.
100%. I think he's the next. He's next.
Yeah. As for Nate Diaz, he seems content on waiting for Masvidal to get running back. I don't see that happening anytime soon, unless Masvidal unless he wants to do it. But then again, it's hard to really sell the fight. It's hard to sell the fight because we've seen the result and we've seen how Masvidal handled Nate Diaz from round 1 to 3. We don't know what we're having a 4 or 5, but we see round 1 to 3. So I think it's too soon to do a rematch.
I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I do not see a rematch happening between these two.
Nor do I want to see it, honestly, right now.
Realistically, I don't see it happening, one. And if it did, it'd have to be at least two years later. I feel like it wouldn't happen anytime soon because Masvidal is – think about the state of the welterweight division, right? We have Kamaru, who's the champ. We have Kobe Covington. We have Tyrion Woodley. You have Leon Edwards. You have who else is in the welterweight division that we could say is in that? RDA, and who just had a resurgence. And then you have Stephen Thompson. What I just mentioned was maybe 6 to 7 people. Sorry, my brother's here trying to bait me into talking, but I'm going to keep talking to you guys. I just mentioned 7 possible contenders for the belt. Masvidal has already lost to Stephen Thompson, so the argument can be made for that rematch. Then you have the fight for you have RDA is probably less likely to get the title unless he keeps on a win streak. Then you have Tyrion Woodley versus Leon Edwards. The winner of that could be right back. If that fight comes to fruition, the winner of that can be right back in the title picture or on the road to the title. Then, you just have too many variables in which, of course, a Nate rematch would be great. That'd be exciting. But based on the way it happened the first time and his projected projected success that he's having for the last year, I mean, it doesn't benefit him more than fighting for the title, is what I'm trying to get at.
No, and if Nate wants to continue fighting, he can. I personally, if I was his manager or somebody around him, I would just say, listen, let's just wait. Let's see what happens with Masvidal and his title shot. Maybe we could get people to say, hey, we want to see Nate Diaz versus Masvidal for the real title if Masvidal wants to win it. Or let's see Conor.
Exactly.
Wait for Conor. Maybe Conor comes around. Maybe he comes and when he's supposed to fight January 18th. Maybe he wins his fight, and maybe you gotta do Nate and Diaz trilogy.
Exactly.
So
I know. No, you're right. Oh yeah, you said Nate and Diaz. Sorry, you're right. No, you're right. I 100% agree. I think that fight is good. I mean, even if you wanted to, we have Nate Diaz who fought Rafael dos Anjos, and at welterweight, that could be an interesting fight to run it back again.
I agree.
That could be a great fight.
So I just don't want Nate Diaz to be hung up on waiting for
getting a rematch.
Yeah. I think he should think about all the options on the table, think of the bigger picture, and then go from there.
100%. I agree. I agree, Tyriece.
So we agree that Masvidal is the next number one contender, right?
Oh. Who else? Again, like I said with John, when I talk about John Jones, I'm like, who's going to beat him? Now we got to get someone who can beat him. That's it. We know he can beat a lot of people. We got to put him up against the champ to see if he can beat the champ. That's it. There's no one else. You could argue Leon, but realistically, the better fight is for the belt.
I agree. Let's talk about the guy that got the biggest response of the night. Darren Till beats Kevin Gastelum 27-30, 28-29, 30-27, split decision. Darren Till wins. I thought it was a close fight. But the story of me is how big of a star Darren Till is. I did not realize till we actually got how big of he had the biggest reaction on
you
par.
Pointed this out to me.
Jorge Masvidal.
You pointed this out to me. You were talking about it a few weeks ago. You said Till you told me like a week or two ago. He's like Till may not make it, and then you said this is maybe change the game. But then you also told me that like I bet you a lot of people are going to be there for Till.
Yes.
And sure enough, oh my gosh, it was crazy.
I knew Till was big because I thought, the English fans are going to come over. But it was even more than that. American fans, all fans, just loved Till. And they were rooting for Till. And it was crazy to me. It was crazy to me because I'm thinking, coming off this Gastelum Adesanya fight, I would think Gastelum would be better in the eyes of the fans. I thought he'd have more support. And it was different. No, Darren Till had the biggest reaction on par with Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, I was in shock. Although
Yeah.
Sweet Caroline's a great song. Let's be honest.
Oh, it's
Sweet
amazing
Caroline's a great
song.
song.
It was
Great
amazing
song.
song.
But yeah, that support, that kind of support goes unrivaled at such a young age.
Yeah.
And coming off of, he hasn't been doing the best in terms of his recent fight record, but this man's got some fans. And having some fans can change you. That can light a second fire in late round. That could put that confidence can be really good for you, I was impressed by that though. I like the way he looked. Let's just say that too. At 185 compared to the 170 version we know of him. You pointed this out too. Again, I'll give you this. This is the only other time I'm going to give him a little bit more credit, people.
Thank you.
At 185, Till did not look dried out during the weigh-ins. He looked, you saw the imprints in his cheek. The guy, lost a lot of water, but the guy looked a lot better at 185. He looked just as solid, but a little bit more puffed out, but better at 185 than 170. And of course, please talk about this, Tyreece.
No, before going, I want to say thank you to John Alba, somebody that inspired me to really do this and even put me on the stream yard, which I talked about before. Thank you, John Alba. I appreciate you looking good. I appreciate you, John Alba. Yeah, man.
My mic or your mic? Sorry. Good? Can you hear me now? Just talk. I'll figure it out.
So speaking of Till, again, he had the biggest reaction. 185 looked great. Definitely did not look sunken out or dried out. He looked really good at 185. More on weight than Kevin Gastelum. Kevin Gastelum had held on to the towel or held on to his Javier Cordero, who was his coach, to make weight.
I didn't see that. This is the thing. I don't really watch the
weigh-ins.
Yeah, man. This is one of my issues. I don't watch the weigh-ins, but I didn't know about that controversy.
No, yeah, he. So it was interesting. So on the scale, you can see his left hand is on Javier Cordero, and he's holding Javier Cordero as he's on the scale and trying to make the weight, which is very interesting. So and then Darren Till, even coming to America and coming to New York late, still made weight, still on track, looked better than he's ever been. I thought in terms of the fight, I thought it was really close. We talked about before, Darren Till, it seems, I wonder if there's something missing from a little bit. He said it was an injury, so I'm not going to hold him too much accountable to it for his performance.
Yeah.
But we do see that there's certain things that he does. It's like, against the top level of guys, I don't know how he does.
I think Till, again, will have to be on that road where he regains that. He has to go. Till is good a fighter. Let's just say he has the power, has an interesting stance. I don't think he has all the pieces, but he has the pieces to beat people, right?
Yes.
He has the height. He has the size. He has the striking because, he's from a kickboxing background, and then he's able to implement his will. So, he has some very good variables going for him. However, he's going to have to be in this division, and in this division alone, he's going to have to go little by little and getting better in order to beat the top tier guys. As it stands right now, he may not be able to stack up, but I think if he adds more layers to his game that's already good, he can get to fight Israel Adesanya one day, who will probably be champ for a while, but that's another discussion.
No, yeah, I agree, man. I think in this fight it showed it. Like he didn't do a lot, but the little things that he did was impressive. So when I looked at how the Darren Till win this fight and trying to understand it, I don't understand the judges, the 20-37. I thought it was more closer than what was on display. But Darren Till won by octagon control. His height and his reach was really got it done. And he won the distance when they're far apart. He's landed his strikes. He's landing the leg kicks. And he was able to do more with his jab, going to the head. I thought Darren Till had a very good technical fight on par, maybe to the Stephen Thompson fight, where it was not him just going for broke and trying to knock somebody out. He's taking his time and being technical.
I think this fight was a little bit harder because, again, I talk about stances and things like that. Southpaw versus Southpaw, is what you probably would think, just because they're standing in the same stance. It'd be easy for them because they're used to it and they understand, and they both have a knowledge of what they're able to do with the 1-2 jab, the
Yeah.
1-2 the jab cross, and I think that's what made this such a technical fight, because these guys have, if you really think about it, right, aside from the differences in height and then the length and all that stuff, the base of what their game plans usually are is to circle, get some good leg kicks in, set up for the 1-2.
Yeah.
And these guys have a very, I wouldn't say it's the exact same game plan, because it changes per opponent, but at the base of what their game plan is and what they're able to do with very simple combinations is their 1-2 is probably one of their best combinations in each of their cases. So they were both wary of each other's 1-2. And so when you would see Kelvin kind of come under and things like that, you would see, as soon as he threw the jab, you would see Till try to go under the jab. And as he saw, Till being the naturally taller fighter, Kevin can, move to the left, move his head to the right and get under the jab, and then, watch out for the cross, So like that was the technicality of this fight. And you saw that on display. And I think some people said that fight was boring. If you understood a little bit more what was going on between those two guys, because at any moment both of these guys could honestly they could knock the other person out. Let's just be honest, they both have the power to do that. But because they were trying to figure it out, it just got a little awkward at times, and it was hard. It was really hard because the smallest mistake the other guy could capitalize on, and I think we talked about that last night at the event. The smallest mistake, whoever reads first is able to win. That's just it. That's how that fight would have gone.
Yeah, and I thought with Darren Till, and one of the things that more impresses me about this was his defense. Well, going into this fight, I thought, okay, Kelvin Gastelum has the power to knock Darren Till out. We've seen Darren Till leave himself open for a lot of these strikes. This time, but in this fight, his defense was a lot sharper. It was a lot sharper than it was. But he's not swaying back and moving his head back. No, he's actually defending, which is actually good to see.
Very, very good. You saw the change. You saw the change. They weren't big adjustments where they were he's throwing spinning crane kicks or whatever. It's not like he's throwing the flashiest things, but it's the little adjustments that make for less likelihood to be knocked out. Or those minor adjustments and the small holes that he has makes him just that much better of a fighter.
And he said he tore his knee up before he even got to this fight. So let's see how he is healthy. Let's see what he does at 185. Right now, we look at the rankings. Robert Whitaker's ranked number 1. Paulo Costa's number 2. Yoel Romero's number 3. Kelvin Gastelum, who just lost to Darren Till, is number 4. Jared Cannonier's number 5, and Jack Herman's number 6. So what I can see happening is Darren Till going to number 5, Jared Cannonier moving to number 4, and then Kelvin Gastelum moving to number 6.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. Yoel Romero's still there, right? At the top?
Yeah, so Yoel Romero's going to stay at 3. Paulo Costa's going to stay at 3.
I think so too. I think that number is going to be right. I just want to say shout out to Kevin Gastelum, because this was a hard fight too.
Yes.
Kevin Gastelum performed well because he got hit back. He got tap back. He very good game plan. I just think that in a very split close decision, I think Till just landed slightly more in some exchanges. That was all. But coming off overall a war like he did with Israel Adesanya, I mean,
he had a great year.
He had a great year.
And I think Kelvin Gastelum won some people over in this year in terms of Kelvin Gastelum's a real deal contender in this middleweight division. And also, before we go off on this topic, this middleweight division is changing. Remember, Chris Weidman was ranked in this division. He's no longer ranked. Jacare Souza is fighting in 2 weeks. He might
205.
He's going to 205, so he's not going to be ranked in the middleweight division anymore. So we may see, this division change up a little bit. So, I definitely can see Darren Till at number 5, Jared Cannonier number 4, Jack Hermanson moving down to number 7 where Jacare is, and Kevin Gastelum being at number 6.
Yeah, I agree. I'm interested to see where this division goes. In terms of matchups, what would you think the UFC might do?
I think Paulo Costa's out for a while. He said he has an injury.
It was a bicep, right?
Yeah. Yoel Romero. Yes. Yoel Romero is on track to probably face Izzy next. So I think the fight to make would be Darren Till versus either either Cannonier or Whitaker.
Now, I'll give you why I think it's most likely going to be Cannonier or Hermanson, maybe Hermanson, but that we'll save him for later. Maybe I'm going to say why Till versus Cannonier makes sense because you're going to want the newer blood. It's interesting because usually when we had Ezra Adesanya and Paulo Costa coming up in the division, they kept them separate, which was perfect because now they can fight. Right, they're going to be able to fight sometime next year. That's just going to be it. But when you have Darren Till, who's so young, and you have Jack Cannonier, who not as young as this guy, but has this new resurgence and is doing great at middleweight. Do you think the likelihood to keep these guys separate, or are they likely going to have these guys fight? And I think they're going to have these guys fight, if I'm being honest with you.
I wouldn't think so, and here's why. Going off that reaction that Darren Till had, and the way he likes to fight, and he takes on these big oppositions, he takes high risk, high reward.
Yeah, agreed. He does.
So I see Darren Till fighting Whitaker because I think that Darren Till's star power, which we saw at Madison Square Garden, he got on par reaction as Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal did. So it tells me that they're going to fully invest, and they're still investing in Darren Till as somebody that could be a contender for their title. I think you get Darren Till versus Whitaker, and I think you get Jared Cannonier versus Kelvin Gastelum.
I want to see Kelvin Gastelum versus Robert Whitaker, which is the title fight we were supposed to have.
But you can't do that.
I know,
now, can you?
I know. That age is done.
Because of the fact that Darren Till beat Kelvin Gastelum, and Kelvin Gastelum is now going to drop.
Yeah,
he's going to drop, and Jared Cannonier is going to be in the top 5. Darren Till's going to be in the top 5. So I see more of maybe Jared Cannonier fighting Kelvin Gastelum. Remember, I thought Yoel Romero would probably be a great opponent for Jared Cannonier because of that wrestling.
Yeah, but with Darren Till win, we did speak on this in the last podcast. If Darren Till won, his possible fights are Robert Whitaker or Jared Cannonier. And again, like the point I brought up with like Izzy and Costa, they may not have these two guys fight right away. You know, I would love to see that fight, but I don't think they have these two guys fight right away. It just reduces their star power because now they can have two possible stars instead of
forcing one star.
Yeah, so I think they'll go Whitaker and Darren Till, and then you'll have Jared Cannonier versus Kelvin Gastelum, and in that fight, Kelvin Gastelum may beat Jared Cannonier and move up and prove that he's still in that top 5. And if Jared Cannonier was to beat Kelvin Gastelum, Jared Cannonier would have beaten somebody that fought for the title, and that would put his name up as well. So I think that's the right fight to make.
All possible roads can link back to the title, and it's not that. I don't think Kelvin Gastelum's totally out of the picture.
No, I think he's still right in there.
He's still right in there. This loss was very close. It wasn't like he got dominated, so we still know he's able to compete. I just think that it has to be the right fight. And I'm not saying the easier or harder fight. It just has to be the right fight that can, if he wins, he's still back in the, puts him one step ahead now that he's 2 steps behind.
I agree. But yeah, Darren Till had a great performance. Technical may not be for everybody, but I thought it was a good performance. Moving on, speaking of a great performance, Stephen Thompson beats Vicente Luque by unanimous decision. I think just outright, Thompson just outpointed Luque.
I think Thompson did what Thompson does best.
Yes.
Now the safer going into this fight, Luque had, I think he was on maybe like a 6-fight win streak. This guy he's beating some of the lower the non-ranked and then the lower ranked welterweights, right? And so with the momentum, you see with guys with momentum, they generally get better. And that's not to say he didn't get better, but usually sometimes when it comes to betting and in MMA, some people usually go towards the guy who has the momentum in terms of the last couple of fights. Because a record speaks for itself, If you're beating these guys, they're like, okay, well, he has something he can do. But the safer bet would have been Luque for most people. But the issue with Stephen Thompson is that he's even though we understand he has a karate style, we know what's going to happen. The question is, how do you overcome that?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. You can theorize, you can watch the video, but it's how will you deal with the lanky, the sidestepping, and the point fighting. And it's not like the point fighting is bad because the point fight hurts you. It's damage accumulation over time. But it's how do you deal with that? And we saw that Vicente Luque, he had a great game plan in round 1, but Thompson turned it up in round 2. And we kind of saw Thompson start to lead on the scoreboard, and then that's when we saw the shift. But a great fight by both guys. Just want to start both guys again. Phenomenal fight. Again, this is the fight of the night. And wait, didn't I tell you, Tyreece? I told you. It was either this fight that was going to be fight of the night, or it was going to be another fight that was really back and forth. And I thought that, I assumed the Masvidal and Diaz would be the fight of the night because I thought it was going to go the distance, but we didn't get that. But bottom line is, great fight. Stephen Thompson is back. I would like to say he's back. He proved that he's still a good contender, and it's still a problem for a lot of people at welterweight.
No, yeah, everything you said, I pretty much agree with. Thompson and Luque pretty much went how I thought it could have gone. I thought Luque's aggressiveness he was gonna do something with his aggressiveness. My question was, I didn't know if Thompson's chin couldn't hold up, and it did.
Yeah, it did.
And as you've seen round by round, Luque started off very strong, and then round 2 and round 3, Thompson just took over. And because Luque kept coming forward, Thompson just made him pay every single time.
Now, this is a point that Josh Thompson. I keep bringing that guy up for some reason. I'm sorry. Stephen Thompson. Same name. My bad, guys. But what was interesting about this fight was that with guys, Stephen Thompson wants guys to pressure him. He eats that up. That's his style. His style is to, you want to try to get me? Shift, boom, right? Kick you in your chest, now you're on the floor. You looking at me, we were standing there, I kicked you in your chest, now you're on the floor. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of his style, right? He's like, jab, wait, kick, whip to the face, That's his style. He loves the aggression because the aggression allows him to kind of matador you. He's like, bait, bam. But what was interesting about Vicente Luque's style was that he presses forward, but he's aggressive, but it's the aggressive that's a little bit more calculated. It's like, boom, cut off the octagon, you're going this way. I'm slipping with you, I'm rolling with you. I'm not going to just throw. I may throw where I think you're going to be, which may, ends up working out for him in most cases. But he wasn't too wild and aggressive. He was a little bit more calculated, which was, I think, a little bit difficult for him to deal with in the first round. But when then Stephen Thompson realized in the second and third, I was like, this guy's just going to keep coming forward anyway. So I might as well start throwing combinations. And then we would see the 1-2, the 1-2 kick to the chest, 1-2 kick to the head,
Yeah. I think the only thing that I would say for Luque, I wish he would have kept going, was the leg kicks. I think the leg kicks in the first round did him some good, and then after round 2 and 3, you really didn't see the leg kicks really again.
No.
But yeah, Stephen Thompson he did just too much for Luque. I thought it was the experience and just him as a fighter and his style was just too much for Luque. Look at the welterweight division. You have Stephen Thompson ranked at number 9. I think the fight that makes sense would be Santiago Ponzinibbio at number 8.
Whenever he comes back, the man's been dealing with injury and then some other stuff. So hopefully when he comes back, that'd be a great fight. If not, I'd be interested as just a pure, just to see the fight itself. Maybe Robbie Lawler.
Which I think they tried to book that fight before and it just didn't come together. So that fight would be good too.
I'd be interested to see him versus Robbie Lawler. I think Stephen Thompson still got it. And I think Robbie Lawler is still a beast. So, let's see where that goes.
Stephen Thompson's going to be 37 in February. So, again, it's one of those fighters, again, back to Roy Mazza, where the time is ticking to really see him fight for a title ever again.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Moving on, Derek Lewis beats Blagoy Ovenov by split decision 28-28, 29-28, 28-29, 30-27. It's one of those things where the judges just seemed off to me a little bit. I didn't see a 30-27 in this fight.
Just off.
But the right man, but you can say the right man won. Derek Lewis just landed the bigger shots and was able to hurt Blagoy Ovenov.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, Ivanov was able to take the shots, which I thought he was. He fought JDS, and JDS, he took JDS' best shots. But Derek Lewis was just too much for him. Ivanov would take him down, really couldn't do anything with it.
I mean, the takedowns were impressive. But again, it's the control that comes after.
Yeah. And
he just didn't have that, unfortunately. What I will say, Blagoy Ivanov, tough son of a gun.
Yes.
Derek Lewis is probably the greatest person at playing coy. He kind of is like, oh man, I'm a little tired. And it's like, it's like, where is this coming from? Where are these
Exactly.
reserves coming from? So it was impressive. It's actually funny. The heavyweight fight, these men whose weight is at 265, the cap maximum weight is 265,
Yeah.
was the first in 5 fights to go the distance.
Yeah.
The first in five fights.
It was pretty much the start. Before that, we had 5 knockouts back to back to back to back.
Back
It's incredible.
to back. 5 stoppages back to back to back. It's
But
crazy.
but I still thought this fight was good. It was a little sloppy at certain points, but nonetheless, I thought Dirk Lewis had a great performance. He slimmed down. He looked good. He looked like he could go back in another month or so. I would love to see Dirk Lewis, who's ranked number 5 right now. Maybe if Francis Ngannou wants to fight, if he really wants to fight,
run it back. That'd be a good fight.
You can run it back, and you can either have Francis Ngannou avenge that loss, or you can have Dirk Lewis go back to being in that top 2.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I definitely like that fight. Kevin Lee beats Gregor Gillespie. There's not really much to say about this, except for Kevin Lee proving a lot of doubters wrong, including myself.
Again, I had said I want Kevin Lee to win. Now the safer bet again for betting pools would have been Gregor Gillespie, right? Would have been Gregor Gillespie for most people because Gregor Gillespie is just known to wrestle and maul guys at 5'7", mauls guys at 155, right? But with Kevin Lee he now has a head coach with Firas Zahabi. He still kept his striking coach that was still in Extreme Couture. So we got a different Kevin Lee. And again, I said when I saw Kevin Lee with the his intro music, Kanye and all this other stuff, I was like, I'm feeling it. I'm like, I think Kevin Lee. I was like, we can't have Kevin Lee lose. We can't have him lose because it's not gonna be good. But then I was like, I think Kevin Lee might win. And then I told you I was like, Kevin Lee's gonna win. And boom, in spectacular fashion, Kevin Lee won.
A right overhand, followed by a left kick, beautifully timed. Performance of the night. He knocks out Gregor Gillespie against the cage. It was one of those moments that again proved a lot of people that was wrong about Kevin Lee, including myself. I thought Kevin Lee was going to get a little trouble, and I had more confidence Gregor Gillespie going into this fight. He's heavily touted as being somebody that could fight Khabib in the future, and Kevin Lee put a stop to all that noise.
He did. Kevin Lee. It's interesting because again, with the recent history that Kevin had, Kevin lost his last 2. Lost to Ai Quinta and lost to Rafael dos Anjos, right?
Yeah.
And it was interesting because he got stopped with Rafael dos Anjos, and then he got at the halfway point of the fight with Ai Quinta, you saw something switch off in Kevin Lee. And Kevin Lee, and a post-fight interview, because I was watching his post-fight interview with Brett Okamoto, he said this himself. He's like, I don't ever really feel like an opponent beat me. I feel like I beat myself, and then that allowed opponent to just win the match. Some people may say that's bullshit. I truly think there's a point in some of his fights where you see his switch just goes off.
Yeah.
And it's like it turns down. And the Kevin Lee that you think you're going to get isn't the Kevin Lee that you get towards the end of the fight. And it's a very big statement when it comes to Kevin Lee. And so I'm excited that he's with Firas Zahabi, and I'm excited to see where he goes from here. And at the end of his fight, he said, listen, I don't got time to celebrate. I want to get back to that belt. And I was like, Kevin Lee, this is not a new Kevin Lee. This is a mature Kevin Lee.
It's rejuvenated Kevin Lee.
Mature, rejuvenated, and ready and hungry again. He's hungry again. And that's why I thought this was a great fight for him.
And the last thing I want to say on this, Kevin Lee, this type of performance, the knockout that he had, it's great on this card because it's in Madison Square Garden. And because of Madison Square Garden is such a big card, you just see the crowd there was not really a big response to Kevin Lee going into the fight. But after that fight,
it was if you knew him, you knew him. If you didn't, you didn't. It was one of those kind of things.
But after this fight, he had a huge response. Everybody holds every word that he said, and it's just like one of those. It's like when Edgar Adesanya won in Madison Square Garden. So winning in the Garden changes things for you a little bit. It brings a little bit more power towards you.
It does. I agree.
Kevin Lee.
I'm sorry for this, guys. I just haven't eaten in a while, so I'm gonna have to eat this little piece of an apple.
Go ahead. Kevin Lee beats Gregor Gillespie. He's ranked number 10 right now. He called out Islam Makhachev, which surprised me, but I guess that's the fight he wants to run now. He wants to do Islam Makhachev next. Yeah. Your mic is completely turned off. All right. So while Eli is trying to talk, I'm just going to continue on. Yeah. So Kevin Lee calls out Islam Makhachev, and it's not the fight I would think he would want. I think he would want to move up, maybe fight Paul Felder, maybe fight Eli Quince again, maybe Dan Hooker, but no, he's going for Islam Makhachev, and it's again like Elijah said, it's Kevin Lee being hungry and wanting to fight these fights that he probably shouldn't fight, but still wants to prove himself anyway.
I don't think that Iquinta fight happens again because he's lost to him twice now.
Yes,
so that fight's on the table now.
Yeah.
Because he got a knockout, maybe he can say, you know what, I want to run it back with Iquinta. I'm gonna fuck him up. Maybe, but like likelihood of that slim. But I'm gonna pull up the lightweight. Do you have the lightweight rankings?
Yes, so I have the lightweight right now. So Tony Ferguson.
Let's get that. Yeah,
he's ranked number 1. Dustin Poirier is number 2. Justin Gaethje's Conor McGregor's number 3. Justin Gaethje's number 4. Don Cerrone's number 5. Paul Felder's number 6. Dan Hooker's number 7. Number 8 is Ali Aquinta. Number 9 is Edson Barboza. Number 10 is Kevin Lee, and so on and so forth. And then Islam Makhachev right now is ranked number 15. That's one notable thing. Kevin Lee wants Islam Makhachev, but Islam Makhachev wants Kevin Lee.
I think that fight, if they're calling each other out, have the guys fight, right?
Yeah.
It benefits Makhachev more if he fights Kevin, but it definitely cements Kevin's place in the top 10 if he wins. The only thing I would, everyone else, the only person who's not kind of in a fiasco right now in terms of fight, you have Conor coming back in January 18th, right? We don't have his opponent yet, but we know at least one of the guys in the top 10 is booked to fight him. Gaethje doesn't have a fight. Hooker doesn't have a fight. We know that Iquinta just came off a fight with Hooker, so he's probably not going to fight Gaethje realistically. Yes. Then we have Paul Felder, who beat Edson Barboza, but a lot of people felt that was a little wacky. We have a possibility of a rubber match looming back. Now, one of those guys could fight Kevin Lee, but Kevin Lee already beat Edson Barboza, so the more realistic fight to make would be Felder. But because they're in that situation where they might have to do a rubber match, I don't know if those two guys were going to fight. Either of those guys are going to fight Kevin Lee anytime soon. So realistically, the state of the top 10 guys, he only has Dan Hooker and Justin Gaethje as a possibility to fight realistically. You know what I mean?
I think this Islam Makhachev fight is going to happen. I just want to understand.
I agree.
I just want to know why. I want to know why Kevin Lee is going after Islam Makhachev.
I think the talk. I think it's the talk alone. I don't really think it's anything. I think these guys they've traded words before. Nothing like super crazy, but I think they've traded words before at some parts of their career, and I think Kevin Lee would like to fight him. Can you hear me?
Okay, so I want to get a drink of water real quick.
Drink your water. I think these guys, at some point traded words, and that's just where it's at right now.
So that's potentially next for Kevin Lee. Moving on to Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson, first fight this year. Didn't fight in 2019 so far till now. And he beat Johnny Walker, knockout. Johnny Walker pretty much it was one of those things where Johnny Walker was the star of that night. It seems like this rising star. And Corey Anderson put a thing that to a halt.
Corey Anderson, let me tell you something. That brother had some frustration pent up. He hasn't had the easiest 2019. I mean, not like it was horrible, but he hasn't had the easiest 2019. He hasn't really fought. Again, he hasn't fought really in 2019. And we know that the time I think when he was supposed to fight, his fight got moved because of John Jones, correct?
I don't think so.
Or was that still 2018? Remember? So remember when John Jones...
No, he only fought in 2018.
That's what I'm saying. So that's the time. That's time for him. So when he fought in 2018, I think that was the issue, is that his fight got moved from a part of California to Las Vegas, Nevada, correct? Because the athletic commission wouldn't let John Jones fight, but Nevada would. So they picked up and moved the card to another arena in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, he still
wasn't
fought.
That the issue? No, I'm not saying he didn't fight. Okay. He was really upset about that, and then he won it after I think he won that fight. And then he was saying that he wants Jones next, but he didn't. He hasn't had a fight, and he hasn't been fighting. And I think that time off really had him evaluate what's the point and what's UFC doing with me.
Okay, I'm still.
And I think that time off made him really, really try to understand what the hell's going on in the light heavyweight division, because we have the resurgence of a lot of middleweights going up, but we didn't have a fight with Corey Anderson made. And Corey Anderson, for the last 2 years, even after winning the tough, he's been a very good fighter at light heavyweight. I think Corey Anderson, is, for a lot of people, don't want to fight him, and it's not because he's not a good fighter. It's just that they don't think beating him will get them towards the title of John Jones, which I can understand that. But for many people who fought Corey Anderson, he's a tough fight. And I just want to read to you his last few people that he fought. He beat Patrick Cummings, who was one of the staples at 205. Not one of the people who was in the fight for the belt eventually, but definitely a hard fight for some people because of his wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Glover Teixeira, who right now a lot of middleweights who are jumping up won't be able to beat. If I'm being honest with you, and a lot of 205ers won't be able to beat. And then he beat Ilir Latifi, and who was another staple, solid guy, but he beat him by unanimous decision. So he's beating these guys by unanimous decision, which aren't spectacular fashions, but he's dominating a lot of guys. And so it's just interesting to see that this guy who was beating a lot of people just didn't get that kind of shine or momentum or get that kind of highlight that other people were getting. So I understand why he was upset. And I remember he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and Joe Rogan loves him. So after the culmination of not really fighting for a year and then fighting, you can understand his plight and why he acted the way he did after his fight.
I don't understand it, to be honest with you, because
really,
no, I don't, because he's calling for a title shot, but yet he hasn't beat anybody in the top 5 for a title shot. And we don't know if he was injured the whole entire 2019. We don't know if
that's true.
So we don't know
we don't know
if he turned down fights, what Dana White alluded to before. They turned down multiple fights, so we don't know anything.
No.
My problem with Corey Anderson, this is a great performance by Johnny Walker, was he hasn't earned the right for a title shot, and he's calling for a title shot, and he wants a title fight, but yet he hasn't beat the top
anybody.
He hasn't beat anybody in the top 6.
Well, to be honest with you, he hasn't fought in a year. So that's also a testament to how much think about it. That's a testament to how much the light heavyweight division has changed. Is that you haven't fought in a year, and now you have a new top 6 of people you haven't fought. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for the division to just change, especially over a year. But He's fought Ilir Latifi. Ilir Latifi is maybe that's what got him inside the rankings in the top 10. Glover Teixeira is somebody that has been on the outside of the top 10 for a while now.
Glover Teixeira, what's the light heavyweight rankings right now?
I think Glover Teixeira is maybe ranked number 10.
Let me see.
Maybe,
I'm gonna pull up. Keep talking.
No, maybe number 10. Maybe. Patrick Cummins, again, he's somebody that's been a stalwart in 205.
Yeah.
But hasn't really been a contender. So
Glover Teixeira is number 9.
He's number 9. Okay, so he's number 9, but he hasn't really fought anybody within the top 6, top 5. Nothing
no,
like that.
He hasn't.
Which are the elite of this division. So yeah, I don't think Corey Anderson is close to a title fight. I think, let's see what happens if Anthony Smith fight Corey Anderson.
Yeah.
They have to shut it down for me because it's going to be waiting tomorrow.
So your mom is having a cool conversation.
Hold on, Tyreece. Nah, I love that lady. Good. No, you're right. He hasn't fought in a year, and I think I understand why he's upset with the UFC. But it just I don't want to say he's gone about it in a bad way. If you want the title fight, I don't think he's too far from the title. I never say he's too far from the title. The issue is you gotta with the change of the division it's just harder for him to get a title shot. That's just it.
Yeah.
That's just it.
I would love to see Corey Anderson. I would love to see Corey Anderson fight Anthony Smith. That'll be a good fight for him because he needs to fight somebody within that top 5. If he wants to be a title contender, you have to fight somebody in that ranking. I don't see Dominic Reyes being the guy. And
looking at the rankings now, if he beats, if UFC is truly going to give Dominic Reyes the next shot, which Dana White said, but Dana White also goes back on his word sometime. We could advocate for a Dominic Reyes versus Corey Anderson fight, or if they do decide to give Jones and Reyes a slot on a UFC card, on that same card, a fight with Andy Smith versus Corey Anderson could be the fight that he needs in order to get that John Jones, the crack at John Jones.
I agree.
Realistically, because Thiago's out, Daniel Cormier is not going to fight again at 205, and with Anthony Smith is the number 3 ranked light heavyweight. So realistically, he would be the only fight he needs before he fights John Jones. Realistically, the math is there. That math is there. Would I be upset if we got Corey Anderson versus Dominic Reyes? No, I wouldn't be upset. I like that fight. I like his odds in that fight. And Dominic Reyes is coming off a spectacular win over Weidman, which is great, but Weidman, hasn't fought in a while and just bumps up to 205. For me, great impressive win.
That's a good point.
But I mean, guy hasn't fought in a while, and that takes nothing away from him. I think he can fight one more fight, like we brought up in the last podcast. But realistically, you fought a guy who hasn't fought in a while. He's coming off a hand injury, which kind of not ended his career, but put his career on a very big halt, you know? So, I mean, realistically impressive, but that doesn't earn you the fight against John Jones. Like that alone is not going to earn you a fight against John Jones. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I mean, let's talk about this. John Jones may not be content on trying to fight now. So you may be right. There may be a point to what you're saying where John Jones may sit out for a while and see what's going on with the heavyweight division, and just have Corey Anderson and Dominic Reyes fight it out.
Yeah, I mean,
that's very well possible.
Again, all's possible when John Jones is the baddest motherfucker on the planet.
Yes, that's very true. Moving on, Shane Burgos beats Marquand.
American Marquani.
Marquani, yes. There's not really talk about this fight. Shane Burgos pretty much dominated this fight.
Let me tell you something. Shane Burgos is going to be – I want to see him fight someone within the top 7 now. I think he's earned that right. Again, we've seen him fight last year. Hell of a fighter. He's great. The guy knows what he's doing.
Very well-rounded.
Showman guy. Very well-rounded. Jiu-jitsu is great. His standing, he's got the power. He's got the cardio. Cardio. We know that. So I want to see him fight someone in the top 7 now. I think it's about that time that he makes that big leap.
Ameriquani, he tried to grapple with Shane Burgos. It just couldn't work. He was 3 for 10 in the first round, which kind of told you where the fight was going. And Shane Burgos just took over in round 2 and 3 and really got and finished it. Yeah.
Shane Burgos made the adjustments. That was it.
I thought the fight could have been stopped. But that's neither here or there.
Agree.
I thought it could have been stopped. I thought Coach Kavanaugh should have, who trains Conor McGregor, is worth noting, should have thrown a towel. Maybe the referee could have came in there and stopped the fight. You clearly seen Marquand not even want to get up. He was on the cage and on the floor. And the referee was telling him to get up, and you could see his body.
Wasn't able to do it.
There should be a rule where if you can't get up right away or get up in a fashion that the referee deems okay, you should stop the fight. There should be no reason why. There should be no reason why that you let the person stand up when you clearly see he is too gassed and doesn't want to stand up.
What I think the judge. I don't think it was too late of a stoppage because he was giving him these chances because the guy, although he was rocked and hurt in some points, it wasn't like the guy wasn't in defending in certain parts. He took some big shots. Yes, that happens in an MMA fight. We're expecting for a person to get hit.
I think the judge did that.
The ref gave him a good amount of time to recuperate, and then after the 3rd or 4th time, he was like, "All right, this guy's not getting up." He was like, "All right, we're calling this. We're calling this." So I don't think it was a bad call to stop the fight.
Horrible stoppage.
I think the fight should have been stopped sooner, but realistically, it wasn't like he was he was physically unable to fight, but it wasn't like it was at the point where he was knocked out or he just couldn't get up. And after this, I agree with you. After the second or the 3rd time, it should have been the defining factor. But I think it went on more than that, right? I think it went on a few times.
It went longer than it needed to. When the guy was grappling, was trying to get him to a single leg, he's going with the elbows down. You see him slumped over. I thought then it should have been stopped. Yeah. And then it kept going from there. So, Shane Burgos wins by knockout. I would love to see Shane Burgos fight Josh Emmett or Jeremy Stevens or Renato Moicano, who's ranked in that Renato Moicano is ranked number 8, Jeremy Stevens number 9, Josh Emmett is number 10. I'd love to see Shane Burgos fight one of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Edmund Shabazian, my MVP of the night, beats Brad Tavares Nothing really much to say here. Followed it with a left jab to a left high kick. Who reminds you of Rob Whittaker?
Robert Whittaker, man. Robert Whittaker, TJ Dillashaw. You see a lot of those guys with like those good like high level striking are able to follow up with the same side, and we know that that's not an easy task to do. You know, the usual it's the cross and follow up with the strong side. So because you'll have guys like Kevin Lee's knockout, for instance. Kevin Lee fights southpaw through the right hand, followed up when the guy fell off to the left side or swayed off to the left side through the high left kick. That's a very common, it's a common combo, very effective. But what Shabazian did, because his boxing is good, we know his boxing is good, was he threw a flicker jab out just like that, and then you were kind of like, all right, that's probably not going to hurt the guy. But then you saw the shift of weight to the back right leg, and then he threw that kick is not going to have as much power as coming around from the back leg, right? We just know that, but it doesn't take much for a kick to knock you out. We also know that. Yeah. It doesn't take much for a kick to knock somebody out these days. Like that's just a good amount of force generated with great technique will put you on your ass, and that's what we saw. It was thing of beauty. I mean, honest with you, I was impressed.
Yeah, I thought Edmund Shabazian did a great job. And it's one of those things where the guard can make you, and Edmund Shabazian, I think, was a made man that night. I think moving forward, everybody's going to know who Edmund Shabazian. Not a lot of people did going into this fight.
No, you were a big fan.
But I think Edmund Shabazian got a lot of fans that night. Heavyweight, Jared Zinho,
Rosenstruck
beat Andre Arlovski. Hit him with a hook moving backwards. I thought he did a great job. He's 9-0.
That boy's strong.
All of his fights except for one has ended by knockout. He only went to decision one time against Andre Kovalev and Ryzen. This guy is a huge prospect. He beat Junior Albini, he beat Alan Crowder, and now he's beating Andre Arlovski this year. So a 3-fight win streak. Would love to see him fight, somebody in the top 15.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Good fight for him. I think I don't want to say it's time for Andre Arlovski to retire, but
we gotta really we are really on a limited amount of time.
Yeah,
because consistent. Didn't he get knocked out? He won his last fight before this. I'm sorry, right?
Yes, he beat Ben Rothwell.
Ben Rothwell. I think now we have to we're on limited amount of fights. So now we finish the contract and make sure we finish strong maybe, or we take 2 to 3 more fights, 2 fights tops, and we make these fights, maybe rematches that we've always wanted or matches that we've always wanted, and then call it a day. Because that kind of he's had a long career, and that accumulation of being hit is just not going to be good for anybody.
He'll be 41 in February. I want to say it's the total end because we've seen Andre Arlovski have these runs where he's on a losing streak and just comes back and comes back like a phoenix and is the top contender again. So you never really know what Andre Arlovski, especially at heavyweight. But I think it's time to consider it a little bit.
Yeah, I think retirement should be rather sooner rather than later. I agree.
Caitlin Chikogian beat Jennifer Maia. Jennifer Maia looked good early on, but Chikogian just took over, and she's the number 1 contender.
Yeah, she's which was interesting. I didn't realize that. I haven't been following that. I'm glad they announced as a number 1 contender. I'm interested to see the next fight for that.
Yeah, so she's the rightful contender to fight Valentina Shevchenko in her division that she runs. It'd be interesting to see how she does against Valentina Shevchenko. She's 13-2. It's a good record.
Mm-hmm. Right, just take the camera off me real quick. I just have to go do something.
Yeah, go ahead. She lost to a close decision by Jessica Ai. So it's not like their last loss wasn't something that was something that was controversial. It could have gone either way. So I definitely could see Chikagian given maybe Valentina has some problems. I think she looks solid. Valentina Shevchenko is on another level, so it's to see somebody give Valentina Shevchenko a run for her money. So I thought Chikagian looked good. Not really much to say there. She did it. She pretty much dominated the fight against Maia, and she's number 1 contender. I don't know what really to say about that.
Impressed by Maia though. Maia is a former Invicta champion, and she showed she has the skills and heart to eventually probably be still in title contention still. So I think she's going to be. I'm interested to see where Maia's career goes.
And then lastly, Lemon Good beat Chance run country by knockout. Chance looked good. He took a lot of damage. He's tough. There's some of those punches that Good threw. I thought he was going to take him out, but he actually stayed longer than I thought he could.
He did. He weathered. I don't want to say he weathered the storm because it wasn't like Lyman Good destroyed him.
He weathered the storm.
He just Lyman Good caught him and then eventually just was able to put him away.
But he was so tough because I thought there was multiple instances where it's like, I don't know how much he could take, and he just kept taking and taking and taking, and it got too much.
It did. That kind of damage over time is gonna, especially with a guy like Lyman Good who can throw the power consistently from round 1 to round 3. May not have the gas tank. We don't know if he has the gas tank because a lot of his fights end by round 2.
Yeah.
But I think Lyman Good he's proven that he's definitely going to be someone on the radar for many welterweights later.
So I thought Good had a good showing. Again, one of those things was where MST can make you. Lyman Good, the response after the fight, the response during the fight, there was a lot of cheers for Lyman Good. So it was good for him.
Yeah.
Pun intended. And that's pretty much all the fights we've seen. Hakeem Dawodu versus Julia Arce. So Hakeem Dawodu won by split decision. We totally missed that fight.
Yeah.
So
that was the first fight. No, sorry. Is the second fight or first fight?
First fight. Yeah. So I mean, Hakeem won. I like his grills.
Yeah.
I like the
listen, man. Hakeem Dawodu. I'm excited for him. That was the fight I actually did want to see, but
me too.
He's gonna live to fight again, so that's good.
Elijah, any last notes on UFC 244? Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
I just want to say, I don't remember the names of the people we sat around last night, but I would like to say, overall, as an event, I think how far MMA has come, and especially with the UFC, I think I'm happy to be a fan. We sat with some people last night. My brother, who I introduced to UFC, who's now a fanatic, and his favorite fighters are Israel Adesanya and Tyrion Woodley, rightfully so, great fighters. My brother's obsessed now. Tyrese's brother came last night. He may not be, he watches fighting and he watches, wrestling and all that. Yeah. May not have been as big a fan as me and Tyreese, but the kid had a great time.
Yeah.
You had people we sat with, we don't know, strangers. We talk about MMA. We're talking about fights. We're talking about what the guy's good at, what the girl's good at, what their strengths and weaknesses. We're talking about possible combinations for fights later. I think overall, it was just an experience that I'm happy that I got to have again as a fight fan. And maybe you could tell me your experience, but from last night, I just love being in that atmosphere, and I love being a UFC fan, and I love watching mixed martial arts, and so it was the cultivation of all that I've been watching from 2012 and all that we've talked about. I'm just the culmination of all those events coming into one night, and especially at Madison Square Garden, one of the biggest stages, the grandest stages of them all, they say. Yeah. I truly want to say, not only was it a great card, but an experience as a fan, unmatched.
Yeah, to piggyback from that, man. Yesterday was a great day for multiple reasons. One, it was going to see UFC with you and your brother. We're family friends. We know each other for a long time, just kids. It was very meaningful to go take my brother, who is 14 years old, never been to Madison Square Garden. I've never been to Madison Square Garden except when we went our first time. Yeah. But for me as an older brother to take my little brother to Madison Square Garden into a big UFC fight, it meant a lot. It really meant a lot. And to see his face light up when we go to the arena, we go to our seats, and you see his face light up and just say, "Oh my God, this is great! This is fantastic!" Those are moments that he will never forget. And that's what mixed martial arts does. Mixed martial arts gives you these moments that say, "Oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen." And when mixed martial arts is at its very best, like it was last night, you get moments that you will never forget.
Truly, well spoken, my brother. I just want to say, for those who are going to go to Madison Square Garden next year, and it's going to be big. We know that. Yes. That's just it. The formula for getting good seats. I'm gonna say this, and I hope this doesn't bite me in the ass next year.
Bro, go ahead.
Section 214. If you need the bang for your buck, look into it. That is it. That is all. I won't say any more. But
now
214.
we're totally gonna miss out on our seats next year because you just totally give away the secret sauce. But I mean,
But you know what? If we miss our seats, that means our show got the people.
there you go. There you
You
go.
know?
You always
That's
find a bright spot in things.
Come on, my guy. Come on. I told you I'm a mess, but I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make it work.
Yes, yesterday was something to remember, and thank you for joining me on the experience, Elijah, and I hope everybody enjoyed the show.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the fans for always. If you tuned in, appreciate you. If you watch it later, we also appreciate you. We just really wanted a place to talk about the stuff that we like, MMA.
So please subscribe for more content like this. We'll talk about other. Next week we got a mixed martial arts card. I think UFC in Russia. If I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, in Russia. Yeah, Russia.
Which I'm guessing there's gonna be some controversy with that because it's gonna be Alexander Volkov versus Greg Hardy. So that should be worth talking about.
Yep.
So signing off. My name is Tyriece Simon.
Elijah Jones.
And this has been MMA Renegade. Good night, everybody.